Hello and welcome to Evidence Violates Community Guidelines. We're going to review some key sections in the HEROES Act. Insider friend O'Mine picked these out and discussed them with me. Unfortunately, I can't name this person or upload our conversation given new policies with her work, but that individual is certainly appreciated, and she will be paraphrased in places throughout this video. Set phasers to...
Engage. The army will advance!
Let me just say at the outset that Nadler and Waters are two personal favorites. I-L-U-V them, no spell check needed. Oh, and this act's 1,800 pages, but it has the HEROES acronym in it, just like Jabba the Patriot Act had the Patriot acronym. Relief and more relief. This HEROES Act wasn't just written for the Dos Equis virus. It's written so that it can apply to any federally declared national health emergency. So that could theoretically include racism, given some legislators want that declared a national health emergency. Your white neighbor doesn't agree with you or won't even kneel before you? Call the Dos Equis surveillance squad. Bills written in such a way that it has good things for people who are suffering, which would make it tough for any Congress members to explain voting against it, despite its disturbing provisions, which we'll address now. Standing up for minority-owned businesses? What a strange thing to do in white supremacist America. Double federal aid for those who got self-improvement grants on immigrating into America, and now get more federal money before Whitey a second time. Providing oversight and protecting taxpayers? Like this?
According to some estimates, we cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
Every Worker Protection Act used to be its own standalone bill called the Paycheck Protection Act. Is that what the billions to CEOs and trillions to Wall Street are all about also? Ensuring their incomes don't suffer during today's trying top-down times like they didn't suffer during 2008? Prison phone justice? Who knew? Confined individuals? You mean prisoners? Where there's a federally declared public health emergency, there's confined telephonic prison injustice. Additional funding to victims of hate crimes. Gonna guess that won't include black on white crime, which I will also guess isn't soon gonna be declared a public health emergency. Grants for state-run hate crime hotlines? Explain yourself, Whitey. States will also be penalized through receiving less federal funds if they don't have hate crime hotlines, and if they don't run them in the way that FedGov wants them to. Again, explain yourself, white man. People can also anonymously call to report others as hateful, which lands them on a list. Tecate cancer tracking should work great too in a multiracial, multilingual, multi-religious, myriad gender, wave after feminist wave society. I can hear it now. You tracked and reported me only because I'm insert your category here. Prisons and jails section calls for releasing prisoners, which gets folks wondering just how much confined individuals will really need prison phone justice. Here's an example in the act where legislators specifically mention the Modelo infection, even though the act itself isn't limited to that. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have projected that between 160 million and 214 million people could be infected by the novel coronavirus in the United States over the course of the pandemic. Median equals 187 million. When my friend and I talked, there were 2,208,400 Keystone-like cases. So if this year sees 10 million properly identified cases, then the overly diagnosed and overly death-credited Keystone Killer would have another decade or so to go. I can hear oligarchs licking their lips from here, with or without vax. Although the United States has less than 5% of the world's population, the United States holds approximately 20% of the world's prisoners and leads the world in the number of individuals incarcerated, with nearly 2,200,000 people incarcerated in state and federal prisons. That's what happens when you focus on non-violent drug users more than rapists, murderers, and Epsteins. This HEROES Act provides no citations for these reported studies. If you've been properly convicted for violent crime, then I don't give a flying copulation what ailment or condition you're dealing with. You deserve prison. The community at large doesn't need government risking more violence upon it. This act includes status change request, which permits irregular doctors, scientists, and engineers, patent pending Poseidon, to request status switch from illegal to legal, despite how they entered the country. Such requests often take years to process, which allows ex-lax entrants into America to find and marry a citizen, make a baby, and stay that way. Follow the laws, Whitey, and don't forget to pay for those who don't, including with your lives. Amnesty offered for any essential workers. This includes any illegal alien employed at any establishment that sells food or drink. Is there really such a thing as an essential non-American worker in this country with stagnant wages for decades, where unemployment's skyrocketing and businesses are shuttering in staggering numbers from coast to coast? I'm also wondering if blacks and whites who have been in America for centuries might know how to handle food and drinks. No penalties for any employer of illegal aliens in an essential position. Does essential position include any non-white non-citizens working below minimum wage for politician buying operations? Equality implies screwing Americans and non-Americans alike. Requesting higher visa caps on all categories related to essential employment, any medical, food, education-related positions. When the law of supply and demand meets the laws of manufactured tension and conflict. Sometimes raising a ruckus works with politicians, so if you want to see this cloyingly titled act defeated or parts from it excised, call away and explain away. Links for the act for reaching reps and senators are in this video's description. If you're just now finishing the entire so-called Patriot Act that you started reading in 2001, and you now want to read the so-called HEROES Act in its entirety, your man EVCG has you covered. May every God's every grace bless you in such an endeavor. Thanks to my Patricia Henry insider friend who read the whole deal and helped me break it down. Peace.